Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we are back with another very awesome addition to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and that is the RowsFire A106 Overhead Panel. The overhead panels are starting to arrive, folks, from multiple developers. The competition is on, and today we're going to see how this one fares up in the lineup. So stick around. If you are interested in any of my tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, or simply interested in supporting the channel, consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future guides that come down the road. Patreon link can be found in the description below. Alright folks, so here we are. Again, this is the RowsFire A106. RTR Hobby is the developer. And today I'm super excited to check this one out. This is the first of the overhead panels I have ever had the chance to try out, so I am very, very interested in this. Let's see, looks like we got the packaging lined up with buttonholes. Let's see if I can get this around. I'm sort of standing behind my camera, so it's a little weird. Alright, so what do we have here? First we have that. We have a QR code for instructions. We'll take a look at that later on. But let's get to the goods. Alright, let's see how this guy comes out. There we go. Okay, and there it is, folks. Has a nice aluminum faceplate and finish on the sides. Not sure, this must be a brightness knob if I were to take a bet, but we'll find out as time goes on. Now let's start looking at it from a functional standpoint. All the switches seem to have a very nice feel to it. Very nice recess push on the buttons. Very small design. Definitely very small form factor. So this is going to be perfect for a desk setup, or even if you want an overhead. Now the one thing that catches my attention right off the bat that I'm not crazy about is the fact that all of these moved. I would have liked to have seen those glued down, but that's a minor thing. That's certainly not a deal breaker. The overall tactile feel of the switches still feels very nice. It doesn't feel like they're going anywhere. Simple switch lineup. Yeah, that is the one part that I will say right now that I already am not crazy about, is the fact that those move. At the same token, gotta be honest, you can see some packaging debris from the styrofoam, so it'll make that easier to clean. That is definitely not a bad kit already. Got a call button, air conditioning, anti-ice, electric. APU is a big one. Master switch for the APU, the start switch. You got your batteries 1 and 2 on a single depression, external power, so a lot of the major things. Ground proximity warning system. I think I would have liked to have seen a couple of different types of buttons on here, but all in all, I can see where they were going with as far as the electrical panel of all this. The lights are obviously always going to be the big one, probably the most commonly used as far as multiple times during flight, that and the APU. So definitely very, very nice configuration here for what it's worth. Now, the mounting system, it does come with, looks like standard VESA mounting is what we got here. I believe that is 100 by 100. So you can use any kind of VESA mount if you wanted to. For example, have a monitor arm or something like that that would have it sitting out like this, and it opens up the door, having them pre-threaded like that, to just about any kind of custom mounting system that you want. You don't have to worry about any kind of extra modeling in order to create a mount for it. So that part is nice. I love the fact that the mounting holes are already there. That was actually one of my complaints about the desktop pilot stuff, which we'll be reviewing in its entirety later this week. But I didn't like that there weren't already pre-designed mounting holes for them. So this is very slick, very nice, very simple, very, very good. Let's see what else we got. I think the only thing remaining is a USB cable. Let me make sure that the box is truly empty. Packaging was very nice to see. It's, you know, as silly as it seems, I have reviewed tons of hardware on this channel, as you guys are aware, and you would not believe some of the packaging that I have seen in the past. So it is something that I do like to point out, because it is a piece of the product quality. It really does add up to the care that a company puts towards their product. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and follow the instructions and get what we need, any software drivers, downloads, etc. Get the device plugged in, and I will be back with you guys in just a moment. All right, folks, so here we are. You guys can see that we now have some power to the A106 from RowsFire. And I have to say, I'm pretty impressed at how easily it was to set it up. It really didn't require much at all. The system, you need FSUI PC7, which is a freeware version that I'm using, and then it also uses a MobiFlight plugin. All of the software comes with the download link down. The one thing I will say about the download is it uses a QR code, and I really hope to to RowsFire, when you guys hear this, I recommend creating an actual web link that people can just copy. What I ended up having to do was get the QR link from my phone and then email that link to my Gmail, so that way I could download it from my computer. The QR codes are cool, but not everyone has a way to do that from their computer. So to keep things easy, I would recommend going that route. But anyway, other than that, we installed MobiFlight, we installed FSUI PC7, so nothing too crazy, and then it gives you a profile that you need to pick in order to make it function. Now you can see here, we have electrical power off. Oops, wrong one. Electrical power is off, external power is available, and I'm going to show you guys the one-to-one here in the sim in just a minute. So this is actually reading what the position of the real switches really are. And again, we're going to see the simulator in just a minute. I just want you guys to get a nice close-up look of this and how really well done it was. The connection is quite phenomenal. The coloring and the lighting is very, very nice. The brightness knob is a little finicky, so it seems to go from like max power to just dim. Boom, there's dim. But then from the dim knob down, I mean, you can turn it all the way off. So the brightness knob on this is a little weird, but I mean, it works. It gets the job done, right? And that's, at the end of the day, that's all we're worried about here. And for something like that, like, it does work. You can tune it. It's just those two ranges there are pretty intense. It's a pretty big bounce. So I would like to see that further adjusted to be a little bit better, and the movement here is quite small. But then from here, you can really dim it down nicely. So I mean, all the way down to there's off. So it's just that really high range, and maybe that's like a bright mode, bright, your brights on your headlights kind of mode, right? So it's still definitely not a deal breaker by any means whatsoever, but I like to point things out as I see them. Alright, so now here we are in the sim. Let's start with some of the basics here. You guys can see again that a lot of the warning signs match up with what we're seeing in the cockpit. This is the Phoenix A320, by the way. So let's go ahead and pay attention to the light switches. There's your landing lights. Oops, I totally kicked that. That was my fault. I hit it with my hand. Nice smooth action. That's going to be for our ADRs. That's up top, so we can't even see that yet. So let's just start turning some things on here. Let's go ahead and get our batteries on. There they are, coming to life. External power now connected. And let's go ahead and test the fuel pumps, even though that's obviously very early for this, but we're just testing functionality. Bam, throws them all on. Wing anti-ice. We even get a fault light on that. There goes the fault light out. That's good. Engine anti-ice. There's your fault flashing in and out. There's that. There's that. Turn those off. And we even get a nice call button. Let's get our no smoking signs. Seatbelt signs. There they go. Coming right on. And I know I'm covering part of it, but let's go ahead and arm the emergency exit lights. So really slick. Crew oxygen supply gets turned on. Let's pick the camera up so we can see how the ADRs works. There we go. All of our ADRs over to nav. Absolutely perfect. Very simple functionality and yet extremely smooth. Very nice tactile feel. Works absolutely phenomenal for a nice small form factor overhead panel. Like it's really comfortable to use. Again, the mounting options were well thought out. It doesn't, the thing about mounting options, especially when you're talking something like this that's designed for like a custom design, you keep it simple, and they did. Just a simple VESA mount. There's so many things you can actually buy small form factor VESA mounts for your desk. And I mean, when I say small form factor, I'm talking maybe 12 inches high, 8 inches high with with articulating arms and stuff that have the 100 by 100 VESA mount. So a lot of customization options. If you want to build your own panel, all you have to do is mount up the 100 by 100 millimeter distance, and you've got your holes for it. So let's see here. Let's go with our master switch for the APU. We even have our APU bleed, which is nice. Master switch, and let's do a start. See the start switch coming on there. APU coming to life. Get that beacon light going, let people know the aircraft's getting ready to start. So very simple. My only complaint, I have 2 complaints. That's it. I don't like that these can turn. A dab of super glue will take care of that, right? I see what they did here. I like the fact that this one doesn't have a switch. Like, they matched even the switch pattern to the real aircraft. Guard, or, you know, tactile differentiation, if you will. Same with the landing lights, but runway turnoff, taxi light, wing light, exactly as you see it in the real aircraft, with just a metal top head. So it's a really slick system. I'm really impressed, guys. Oh, that's just the start switch. We're still waiting for the available on the APU. Actually, I don't even know if I... See here, did I do that too soon? I might have done that too soon, to be honest with you. But anyways, oh, there you go. There's our APU available. How about that? That's sick. All right, and we could even go over to the APU bleed. That's on. Turn our packs on. Fault light should go off if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've flown the air. Yep, there we go. Absolutely perfect. Slick design. I like the coloring. I like that it corresponds with what you see. Now, the other cool thing, guys, is if you are familiar with MobiFlight is a very common integrator, much like SPAD or X's and O's. You can configure these buttons to do whatever you want them to do. So you're not restricted to this. You just have to understand how to do it. You may not get all the indications that you want in correspondence of it, but at the same token, you know, that's all based on how you configure it if you decide to get creative. So right now, they have a profile for the Phoenix A320, the fly-by-wire A320, and we don't even mention the default A320 because why? You know, you're not going to buy something like this to use the default 320. Anyway, so you know, you've got all of your variants of the different Airbus 320s that are, you know, of mention at the moment. I know that profile catalog is going to be expanding over time, so this is a really nice start to the overhead panel battle. Again, there are multiple developers that are developing these guys right now, so I do still recommend, as always, do your research, give it some time, see what comes down the road. However, if you are interested in purchasing this, there is a link to it down in the description below, as well as an affiliate link down in my description. So if you guys are interested in purchasing it, make sure you use the link that I've put down below. Very, very nicely done to RowsFire. I'm actually relatively impressed with this. I think this is a great start to a wonderful hobby. They have also quite the lineup, you guys. This is not their only overhead panel. They have a much larger version as well. If you guys are interested in checking that out, again, be sure to take a look at their website. I will be begging and pleading, seeing if I can get a hold of the bigger one, but we'll see what happens as time goes on. As always, guys, I truly hope that you enjoyed this video and found this product to be as interesting, unique, and very well done as I have. Of course, there are always rooms for improvement in every product that we review here. That's why I pointed out the things that I think need to be touched on. But all in all, I really do think this is a very solid product and a very, very good start to your Airbus overhead panel. I think if you're looking for just the basics and the necessities for the overhead panel, I think this pretty much covers it. I think they've done a really good job. So, as always, guys, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. Be sure to join our Discord and join in the conversations on the Discord channels. And as always, above everything else, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.